have so much expired makeup. I'm like embarrassed to even show you. I feel like we're in like recovery therapy right now. I have in front of me 4 of these boxes of products that I've decluttered, emptied, expired products, things that just need to go. So I thought today I would do a hybrid video talking about my 2023 empties. You guys know I do my yearly review talking about how many things I've emptied, the value of the things I've emptied, and also my major ruthless declutter. If you're new here, then hi, my name is Becca. I'm obviously a lover of beauty, but I also try to be as intentional as I can about using up products, thinking about the waste we create, thinking about the beauty industry broadly and a little bit more critically when I can, all while being a beauty enthusiast. And sometimes there's a tension between those two things. I'm also someone that gets emotionally attached to objects and I have a hard time letting go. So this is like a really big deal that I have all of these products in front of me. I think I'm going to start out with the sort of big picture year-end review, and then I'm going to get into the declutters. I will show you swatches of things. I'll show you why I'm decluttering them. Some of them are, I guess, de-influencing. There are products that failed for me. For one reason or another, they just weren't right for me, and we'll get into all of that too. Let me give you my empties spiel if you're new here. Obviously, a beauty empties is not a new format on social media, but I still do it, and I think it's really interesting because number one, I think it's really important for us to confront and actually see how much waste we produce. Number two, it helps me commit to using up products. All beauty products expire. Skincare, makeup, hair care, body care, it all expires. So it's not worth saving the nice things. Use the nice things you have because they will expire and they will go bad. And you'll see I have a lot of things here that I wish I had used up sooner. And lastly, I do empties because I feel like it helps me learn a lot about my own consumption habits, the kinds of products I enjoy, maybe categories of products I don't enjoy, and maybe my most used or most repurchased products in general. I also always say if I were not a beauty content creator, my consumption habits would look really, really different. I would not be able to afford everything here. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to try these things. It's part of my job, so it is kind of an occupational hazard / benefit. But by no means am I saying your consumption habits should look like mine. I don't think they should at all, actually, if I'm being quite honest. But I just have to say that because I think sometimes first-time viewers or people who are not subscribers see these videos and think I've gone mad. And the fact is, my life would obviously look really different if this were not my job. So let me tell you about everything I used up in 2023. I used up so many things that I like to do a category breakdown, like how many moisturizers, how many body lotions, whatever. But my empties have changed in that I've started counting our household empties, like Sean's empties. And so they don't really just speak to my own individual habits. And also we share things. So it's gotten mixed up. But the total number of items I emptied this year was 193. This includes skincare, makeup, body care, hair care, some bath stuff, like shower stuff, all of that. That's still a ton of product, and I do make a concerted effort to empty products just because with the amount of products that I get to try as a content creator, you know, there's so many things that come in and out of my life, like I'll try once and then I'll pass on to a friend. But I do think empties are the best review you can give because your opinion may change from the beginning of using a product to the end. Sometimes, especially with things like skincare, you don't know how it's really affecting your skin until you get to the end of the product. So that's why I really try to empty products. The total value of the empties that I used up, and mind you, this is like the listed price of each item, not necessarily what I paid because some of these things are PR. The total value is $7,621. That makes me want to throw up. I'm sure we're all noticing that the prices are going up, babe. Inflation, if it is inflation, corporate greed, all of that, it's not stopping. For comparison, let me pull up my 2022 empties. The total quantity in 2022 was 177 items versus 193 this year. So not a huge change. The total value, however, is very different. It's $5,139.50 in 2022 versus $7,621. Like, what? I mean, the only obvious answer I can think of is that I actually this year did make an effort to use up a lot of the luxury items that I have in my routine. And I've also been sent high-end and luxury products. Again, if I were not a beauty creator, would I be spending $7,600 on beauty products a year? Absolutely not. But I think what that tells me is that, you know, I have a love for high-end and luxury things. I like not only the products, but the experience of a product, and I like nice packaging. I don't know what else to say. But I also do think the cost of beauty products has gone up considerably. And I won't lie, I think Sean has more skincare steps now than he did last year. And I think he's emptied more products also and been much more consistent about his skincare use. One of these days, I'm going to get him on here for an empty so he can give you his review. He's very, very shy, very private, does not want to be on camera, but I'm going to make it happen one day. Just watch me. So let's get into some empties reviews. I did share a much longer empties video about maybe a little over a month ago, but I do have quite a few things still. Let's start with hair care because I actually have a ton of hair care. I emptied a couple of things that were actually in my 2023 beauty favorites. If you haven't watched that, I'll link the playlist below. I have makeup, hair care, skincare. You'll see me give you more in-depth reviews. This is the Amika Reset Exfoliating Jelly Shampoo. I love it. It's kind of a grittier scalp scrub, but it also suds up as a shampoo. It has a slightly minty, tingly feeling. It's great for clarifying. It feels really nice on the scalp. It has a cooling effect, and it's also not too abrasive. I feel like a lot of scalp scrubs can really strip your hair, and this doesn't do that. I have two hair masks, one drugstore and one high-end. Honestly, I liked them both equally. This is really, really good. So this is the L'Oreal Everpure sulfate-free hair mask. They call it a Simply Clean Elastic Fiber Mask. It's good for color-treated hair. This had the richest, most interesting texture, and I don't know how to describe it other than it was a little bit goopy, but in a good way. It's like one of those things where if you stuck it between your fingers, it might get like a little bit stringy, not in a bad way, but in a really rich, moisturizing way, and it had a lot of bounce to the formula itself. I found this to be so detangling. One of the most detangling hair masks I've ever tried, maybe even as good as like the Amika Soul Food, which I love. It's like my #1 hair mask, but this is like $11. It lasted me a good amount of time. I actually didn't even need as much as I usually do with a hair mask to really work it through the hair because of how thick it is. So I would totally recommend this. I would repurchase it again in a heartbeat. Right now I have the Ceremonia hair mask in my shower and I do love that, but if you're looking for a drugstore hair mask, this is the one. This one I also loved for different reasons. This one doesn't have the goopiness of the other one, but it is still really, really rich and nourishing. It also had this like kind of nostalgic scent. Like it's very sweet. It's kind of like a tropical candy. And I don't usually like artificial sweet scents, but I loved this for some reason. It's kind of coconutty, a little bit pineapple-y. And I also found this really moisturizing, really detangling. My ends are bleached and color treated and all kinds of things have happened to my hair. And I found this to be really, really nourishing. And I just kind of use my hair masks the way I do conditioner, because I don't wash my hair every single day. On the lighter end, this is the Philip Kingsley Moisture Balancing Combination Conditioner. And, you know, this wasn't for me, not because it wasn't good, I actually really liked it, but because it's for fine hair. So it's for medium and longer processed fine hair, and I have very thick, coarse hair. I have a lot of hair when I put it up in a pony. It's very thick. And so this wasn't really for my hair type, but I can see why it works for fine hair because it's actually a looser consistency. And so it's nourishing, but it's looser and it's a little bit more fluid than a hair mask and even a traditional conditioner. So I think if you do have fine hair and you worry about conditioner maybe weighing your hair down, you might want to try this. I did really like it. It just wasn't rich enough for my hair type. One more hair mask. I did make a real effort to like empty everything in my shower before opening up new products in December. So this is the Reverie Eros Resurrection Hair Mask. I liked the formula of this, but I couldn't deal with the scent. It's a very, very powdery rose scent. It's like a very sharp green kind of rose, but the powderiness I just couldn't get past. That's just not my favorite scent category, and it was so strong. I could smell it in my hair like even after I had washed it out. So it took me a while to get through this, and I kind of had to make myself get through it. I thought the formula was really, really nice and nourishing and moisturizing, detangling, all of that, but the scent just wasn't for me. But if you do like those scents, you might like this. Wow, I have a lot of hair stuff. The Ceremonia Guava Rescue Spray is one of my favorite hair detanglers, leave-in conditioners, heat protectants. It does all of that. It works great, the formula works great, but I love the scent of this. It's a guava scent and it's creamy, it's kind of milky, and it just smells so good, honestly. That's really why I love using this, is because I love the smell of it. Then I have the Living Proof Triple Bond Complex Hair Strengthener. This is great for preventing breakage, split ends. I think it uses the same like hair science as K18, but K18, you can't use the hair conditioner. You have to just shampoo and use the K18 leave-in and then brush it out. And I oftentimes just forget because it's so out of habit for me to use a conditioner or hair mask that when I want strengthening, but I still do my full wash routine, that's when I use this. This is just a leave-in. You can use it in after conditioner. I just take a couple of pumps and it's good for protecting your hair from heat, from strengthening your hair. If you have a lot of breakage, you might want to check this out. Then we can move on to skincare. I have two first cleanses. The first one is an oil. It's the Peach and Lily Ginger Melt Oil Cleanser. I think this is one of my favorite oil cleansers. I talked about it in my 2023 beauty favorites. It's just so effective. It's a very viscous oil, so it gives you time to work it around. It's not watery. It won't slide down your arms as you're using it. It emulsifies beautifully and it rinses clean, and it's really good at breaking down even waterproof mascara. On the other hand, if you prefer a cleansing balm, I also love this one. It's the Naturium Fermented Camellia Creamy Cleansing Oil. This is a rich balm. It comes out clear. I love that it's in a tube. It also is very thick, so it gives you a lot of time to melt down your makeup. This also emulsifies nicely, rinses clean. If it doesn't rinse clean, I'm not using it as a first cleanser. That's just me. So again, both of these are beautiful. I do have a 15% off code for Naturium. I'll link that below along with everything else. But they're also very affordable. They're around the $20 range. Two moisturizers. I have the Lawless Forget the Filler Plumping Perfecting Cream. This is actually a really nice like priming moisturizer. I've talked about it before. Lawless obviously is a makeup brand, and this is one of their first skincare products. It's a lightweight moisturizer, like it's not super heavy, not super emollient, but it is really hydrating. The other one is the Biossance Squalane Omega Repair Cream. This was actually a Sean favorite and empty, and this feels so, I mean, anything that has squalane in it is going to have that really nice silky feel. It's deeply moisturizing, it's nourishing, not too heavy. I would say this is richer than the Lawless. So this is something I would use during the day. This is something I would use at night. Then I have the La Roche-Posay Toleriane Gentle Hydrating Cleanser. I've emptied this many times before. I use it on face and body. It's a huge bottle. It's 13.5 fluid ounces. It is hydrating, it's gentle, it's fragrance-free, it doesn't strip your skin. If you need like a milkier gel cleanser, this is the one to use. And then I finished the Bare Minerals Maximist Mascara. I really love this mascara. The only thing I wish is that the applicator were not so huge. It's very, very thick. I actually do find that for a natural bristle wand, it's very separating. It's super, super lengthening. It's really, really black in color. It's a great mascara, but I wish the wand were like 75% the size it is now, just because I have small eyes and I almost always get some mascara around my eyes when I'm applying this. It's not a big deal. I just like scrape it off with a spoolie, but that would just be my personal preference. All right, let's get into the declutters. So I obviously didn't film the process of decluttering just because I have products all over my house. It would be impossible to film, but I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to show you textures. I'll give you swatches of things where I can go in depth. So I am decluttering a ton of foundations. Let's start there. I'm finally letting go of the Gucci foundation. This is their original matte foundation, their Fluid Debute. That one, Natural Finish Fluid Foundation. I really liked this. It's a thicker consistency, but it's super smoothing over pores. It's really good for oily skin. It's not exactly matte. It is a natural finish, but it still looks really skin-like. And they had really good olive shades in this. 250 was a great olive shade for me. However, I purchased these when they launched. It was either the end of 2020 or early 2021. Either way, that's three plus years ago, and they're definitely expired. So it's time to let that go. The thing about foundations or any liquid makeup is that they do expire and go off much more quickly than powder makeup. And I feel sad about this because, you know, I get to try a lot of different things and I did not finish these up, but it's really time to let go. I have a hard time doing that, but it's time. Another expired favorite, and you can tell, this is the Pat McGrath foundation, and it's very separated. You can see it's really watery here. The pigment is like stuck right here. It's separated. I love this foundation. I still love this foundation. I may actually repurchase it because it's so beautiful. It's fluid, it's skin-like, it photographs beautifully, it's a natural finish, but it's just time for me to let this one go. This is the shade Light Medium 10, which is my winter shade, but I think I got this in like 2019 or something. It's so beyond time to let this go. So if I find myself wanting to use it again, I would repurchase it. I'm not going to do that right away, but it does have my heart and it's like a top 10 foundation for me. More expired things. This is the Espresso Skin Tint. I actually really like this for a light coverage skin tint. I think their shade work their shade range, from what I remember, needs quite a bit of work. There's a very limited shade range, but you can tell, again, this is separated. There's a fluid on top and then the pigment is on the bottom. It's just time to let this one go. And frankly, I did not get the use out of it that I wish I had, but they actually sent over a PR package that includes this. So it's a reminder to me to either use it or lose it. Use it or donate it or give it away. Note to self. All right, then I have a couple of products that are just not my shade. So this is the Valentino foundation. This is so beautiful. It's really lightweight. It's silky. It is also pretty fluid. This is just not my shade. It's MN3, and I think I have MN1 or something like that. They sent over a couple of shades last year, but I do use this, and I use the lighter shade of it. This is just never going to be my skin tone. Same with this. This is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Sheer Longwear Makeup. I actually think this is super underrated. It's a medium coverage skin tint, so it's not as sheer as like the Summer Friday skin tint. It's closer, I would say, in coverage to like the Fenty Eavesdrop, but maybe even a little bit more. This is 3N1 Ivory Beige, and it's just not my shade, but I do have this in a couple of other shades. I think I have it in 2W1 and 2N1 and maybe 2W2. I have a couple of different shades of this because I've worked with Estee Lauder, but this one is not my shade, so I'm just gonna pass it on while it's still good, and I know I have friends who will want it. And in case you're wondering, I do donate any unused makeup. Any expired makeup, I toss or recycle. And then if I have any stuff that I've used, I just give it to friends if it's still in good condition. I do not send it to followers only because I don't think it's hygienic. At least with my friends and family, I can be like, listen, this is your risk. But if I don't know you, I don't want to pass on that risk. Another base product that is just not my shade, the Ami Collet concealer in medium 2. It's a beautiful concealer. It's just not my shade. And the whole brand identity is structured around deeper skin tones. So I think this is their lightest shade in the range, and that's fine. It's just not for me, but I did want to test it just so I could see what it was like. I was curious. I'm grateful to have been able to do that, but it's not my shade, so I am going to pass it on. I do love their lip oils though. Also not my shade. I just used this in a recent video. It's the Kosas concealer in 03 Warm. They sent over a PR package with some of their shade extensions, and this was just so light for me that I think I have to go more into like the 4s and 5s. This was just like ghostly light for me. Same with the other 2 shades. This was the deepest of the ones they sent me. Auric Glow Lust in Pyrite. This is my summer shade, but it's just expired. I bought it when they launched, I think in 2020. So it's old and I used it, a lot of it. There's not a lot left. So I think I definitely will be repurchasing this in the summer because Pyrite is such a beautiful neutral olive undertone for me in the summer. Right now I am using Selenite, and that's a peachier, lighter shade. It's my winter shade. Another highlighter that's expired and that I'm like really bummed about is the Merit highlighter in Citrine. I think I've had this for just over a year. And to be fair, they do say it's a 12-month expiration, but I have so many cream highlighters that last far beyond that window. And you know, it's a clean beauty thing. They just don't use the same preservatives. And that's the thing about clean beauty is I'm like, I just want real preservatives because to me, it's a lot more dangerous to put old moldy products on your face than to use proven preservatives. That's just my opinion. But anyways, this is the Merit Citrine Day Glow Highlighting Balm. I think this shade is so beautiful. It looks like this. Citrine is like a gorgeous golden shade, and on the hand, it's so stunning. It gives you this like glossy sheen. The champagne, like warm champagne gloss in this is exactly what I want in a cream highlighter. I do have a full review of Merit, but oh my God. It smells like Play-Doh. It smells like Play-Doh, and when that Play-Doh smell comes out, it's time. It's time to let it go. This is originally an unscented product. Wow, it's even worse now than when I decluttered it a few weeks ago. So yeah, it's just time to let it go. And I like barely used it because how quickly do you go through a cream highlighter? Not that quickly. These things last forever. So I either want it to be a smaller product or better preservatives. That's just me. All right, let's get into some declutters that are product fails. They just didn't work for me. If they worked for you, that's great. Makeup is so subjective. Everyone's skin is different. Everyone's needs are different. So please don't be insulted by what I'm saying. With everything I mentioned here, these brands have good and bad products. Not every product from every brand can always be a hit, and that's just the way it is. So this is just my taste. I just have to say that as like a preface to all of this. The Kosas Glow IV has been sitting in my drawers since it launched last year, and it is such a glitter bomb. It's very Tin Man, and I was excited for it because this is a category of product that I like. This is what it looks like. I do have a full video like trying this out. It's also confusing because this is a light medium, but it's actually a very deep shade. I feel like all of the shades run very light in this, and the shimmer sheen running through this is silver. So you can see when I like right there as it's reflecting, it's Tin Man. I don't know what to say. It's very, very silvery in its reflect. And if you don't have cool undertones, that won't really work for you. Even if you do have cool undertones, sometimes you need more warmth in the reflect itself. I did really like the texture of this because it sets down and it starts to have like a grippiness to it that makes it long wearing, but I just never reached for it because the shine and the shimmer and the tone was just not right for me. I'm gonna try to stay like within categories, but there's so much here that I just need to like keep it going. This is another declutter. This is the Pacifica Kind Tint Tinted Serum. Pacifica is hit or miss for me. I really like their cheek palettes. I think they have some nice body and hair products. This was so weird to me. So what shade is this? This is the shade 15, I think. And, you know, I thought this was going to be, because of the packaging, I thought it was going to be like the Glossier skin tint where it's really fluid and sheer, but it's actually puffy. It's a puffy formula. So you can see it comes out like a mousse, and I was not expecting that. I thought it would be a fluid, and the shade itself is very, very peachy. And then the more you blend it in, it just kind of like goes away. It's really confusing because you think it's going to be more pigmented than it is. And then as you blend it in, it's not really there anymore. And then it dries down to like a surprisingly matte finish. And it's just not what I expected. I don't like the texture and I never reach for it. So I wish they would do a more fluid skin tint, but this is not my favorite texture. Speaking of skin tints that blend away to nothing, this is the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Skin Tint Broad Spectrum SPF 15. I have the shade Light 3. I did review this in a trying new makeup video, and it was fine. Like, I liked it well enough, but the longer I've had it, the more I'm realizing like I'm just not reaching for it because it just kind of doesn't do much. Like, it just kind of blends away into nothing. And, you know, you can see it on my skin because it's a heavy swatch, but when I have it on my face, I feel like I haven't really applied anything at all. It's almost like it's too little pigment, where it's like I'm adding moisture and hydration, which is fine, but I get that from my skincare. And then it's like, well, if it's not adding any pigment and I'm just adding a bunch of concealer, then what's the point? And it doesn't really do the thing that other light skin tints do, where it creates like a veil over your skin, or it blurs pores, or it does something texturally to the surface of your skin. This just kind of sits there. You know, like the Summer Fridays one makes your skin look really healthy and glowy. The Chanel Water Fresh tint, which I actually just repurchased, it also makes your skin look so beautiful, refined, like you have really good, healthy skin. And this one, it's just not enough for me. Not enough pigment, not enough to keep around. Also with SPF 15, I'm like, what's the point? Either don't give me SPF, or at least give me SPF 30. Like 15 is such a blah, like useless number when it comes to SPF, in my opinion. Okay, these are a great example of a kind of product where I'm like, cool idea, bad delivery. These are the Milk Makeup Color Chalk. And I really wanted to like these. So they're very much inspired by like actual chalk. I've talked about these in my Milk Makeup brand review. And they come in their own little package, which I'm like, this feels excessive. It's funny because I feel like they wanted to be low packaging with the wrapper. It's like a foil wrapper, but then they have this whole plastic canister anyway. So maybe just, I don't know. What's the point? This isn't low package at all. Actually, this is a lot of plastic. So these are actually very dry and chunky, and there's a lot of fallout. And that's actually a pretty shade, but I'm like, I would just like that in a cream eyeshadow and not this like, I don't know, pastel chalk sort of delivery system. I mentioned in my review, these are too big for me to use across the eyes, and they're definitely products that I would only use on the eyes. Like, I'm not using this glitter on my cheek. And yeah, they were just kind of like not fully developed enough as a concept. Again, cool idea, but not good in practice. And you guys know, I love Milk Makeup. I think they make such amazing products. This is one of the few and like only real misses for me in their range. I just never reach for them, and they are taking up space in my life, and it's time to let them go. Let's talk about emotional support products. I think for a lot of people, their emotional support products are like things they fell in love with when they first started really getting into makeup. For example, all of you who still have your Urban Decay Naked palettes, I see you. I know you're out there. And you have a hard time letting it go. However, those are powders and these are creams, and creams expire. They just do. These are the Fenty Cream Cheeks Out cream blushes. I bought 3 of these when I first started creating content. I think this was in early 2020. These first came out, and it was just around the time that brands all started coming out with cream makeup. It was around that shift where brands were like, oh, people really like and enjoy cream makeup. And this was a huge release. They weren't huge when they first came out. They've since had a resurgence, but I picked up 3 shades. I picked up Rosé Latte. This shade I still love so much. It's the perfect brownie rose. It has a bit of warmth to it, some terracotta, and I used this a ton, even though it doesn't look like it, but it's gross. It's definitely time for it to go. I'm just gonna say, I did purple blush before purple blush was a thing. This is the Cheeks Out blush in Drama Class, and it goes on the cheeks as the most beautiful, cool toned, flushed pink lilac. If you are into a purple blush look or a cool toned cheek, I highly recommend this shade. I'm gonna swatch it. Is that dangerous? I'm just gonna go for it. It swatches very differently than it looks in the pan. So that's the swatch of it right there. It's just a really beautiful, cool toned shade. It doesn't even really swatch anymore. Gross. And then I had the shade Fuego Flush, which was so fun. It's a sparkly orange blush. It is sparkly, I have to say, but it's not for everyone, but it was like a great like summer, these aren't even swatching. It was like a great summer highlightery, warm toned blush. Again, not for everyone, but I liked it. But yeah, I just held on to these for so long because they're one of the early products that I bought myself to review. I bought multiple shades. It was a new release. It was like very exciting. I was like rushing home to get the content up. And I think it just reminds me of that time when I was first starting to get into this and how exciting it was. But like now it's at a point where they're crusty, they're not even swatching, they smell really bad, and it's just time to go. And luckily these are still on the market, so if I ever wanted to replace them, I could. And if I were to replace them, I think I would just get Rosé Latte. Honestly, it's actually not that different shade-wise from what I'm wearing now, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Formentera blush stick. If you like this kind of shade, you will like this too. But this is a more like natural finish. Another emotional support product. This is so stupid. Why do I do this? This is the Flower Beauty Blush Balms Color Drops for Cheeks. This is very, very comparable to Glossier Cloud Paint, but I actually like the packaging of these more because it has this clear like applicator, so you can actually squeeze out a very controlled small drop at a time, and you only need 1 or 2 drops at a time, much like Glossier Cloud Paint. And they also have very similar shades. I have held on to these because I worked on a campaign for these with Flower Beauty in 2021. And it was one of the first like big campaigns I got to work on. My face might still be on the Ulta website for these. And it was just such a big like milestone in my life. It was before I had been doing this full time, but I was starting to realize like, oh, I could do this. Like I could actually do this. It really built confidence for me. Yeah, it was a special time. And so I've held on to these. I actually let go of a few shades, but I've held on to these. But it's just time. They're taking up space. I will always remember that moment in time. And those memories don't have to be tied to an object in order for me to have them. That's the thing I constantly have to tell myself with all of my emotional support objects. This is a classic case of right formula, wrong shade. So this is the e.l.f. Glossy Lip Stain. I bought this because I wanted to do a comparison to K-Beauty lip stains. I was really excited about the formula, and I do actually really like the formula. I think it's a very elegant formula for the drugstore. But I bought this shade online, and it's called Coral Cutie. And I do often like orangey, like warm toned lip products, but this was just like very like straight up orange almost. And I just never wore it. I never did that comparison because I didn't like the shade. And there's always a case for looking up swatches or looking up review videos before you buy something, even if it's just at the drugstore, because even as someone who likes orangey, very warm toned lip products, this was almost too straight up orange. It's like pumpkin orange. And I like the formula, but I never wore it, never reached for it because it's not the right shade for me. It does leave a stain behind. I even just like used a makeup wipe, and I only had it on my hand for probably like less than 30 seconds. So just know that there is a long-lasting stain. This stain is really bothering me now because I have other products to swatch. This is prime real estate on my body. I have a bunch of lip products that are like perfectly fine formulas. I just never use them for whatever reason. So this is the Patrick Ta lipstick in Oh She's Single. This is a very like true matte lipstick. I mean, it's Patrick Ta, so the packaging is beautiful, but it's like a velvety matte lipstick. It actually almost looks, the tube looks like the Lisa Eldridge lipsticks, and it has that like velvet sort of finish. I don't know if you can see that, but I just never wear this shade. It's a beautiful shade. It's a nice warm rosy nude, but it is a very, very matte lipstick, and that's just not a formula that I'm reaching for these days. So I'm gonna pass this on to a friend while it's still good, because that's the kind of shade that most people look for in a lipstick. It's just not my formula. Okay, these are actually really beautiful. I had a hard time parting with these, but I haven't reached for them in a long time, and they're still good enough to pass on to a friend who I know will actually use it. So these are the Decluttered, what are these called? The Liquid Lip Color Glow. So it's a shiny liquid lipstick, and I have a couple of shades. They actually generously sent me the whole range. I have a couple that I think I'm still hanging on to, but I'm passing these on. So this is the shade 07 Warm Maple. It's such a pretty shade. Ooh, terrible swatch. My bad. Such a beautiful shade. It's like this warm rose, and it's like a cross between a liquid lipstick and a gloss. It's like a shiny liquid lipstick. The other shade that I have and really liked is 06 Urban Wear. Tiniest font ever. Let me swatch it this way. These have a thicker, grippier consistency, which I actually think is good. It makes sure that, you know, it's going to stay within the lip lines. It's not going to move around. You can shear them out like this is a shearer swatch, or you can build them up for more pigment. And they do have the classic décolleté, like floral powdery scent. But yeah, I'm gonna pass these on because I think it's a good formula. I can see a lot of my friends liking this. It's just not one that I'm reaching for very much right now. Another 2023 fail. I hate using that word. It's just like not for me. It's not my taste. This is the Provence Beauty lip oil in the shade Pink Rose. The shade itself is really, really beautiful. It's like this warm, peachy, mid-tone rose. but it was a very thin consistency. So this is what the doe foot looks like, and it's so slippery on the lips. I mean, if you like a true oil, I mean, we know everyone calls things lip oils these days that are really just like liquid balms or glosses. This is actually kind of oily in that it's slippy around the lips, and I felt like it moved around my lips too much. I love the shade, and I was excited because I like a chubby doe foot applicator, but it just didn't have the thickness and viscosity that I look for in a lip product. It has a slightly floral scent. There's also a bit of like, I don't know if it's shimmer. Maybe it's like a slight pearl running through it. It's a pretty shade. It's just way too thin for my taste. I have so much expired makeup still that I'm embarrassed to show you, so I'm just gonna speed through a few expired things. Maybelline Lifter glosses. I love these. They're a really, really good comparison. I don't want to say a dupe, but they're very similar to the Fenty gloss bombs, not the minty ones, the originals. I've done a comparison in the past of 009 Topaz. This is a great dupe, or very, very similar at least, to the original Fenty gloss bomb. What's that shade called? You know the one, the original like pinky one. I also liked this. This is in the shade Sun. It's in my name. Also really pretty pearly finish. These also have a slightly fruity scent, but these are expired, so they gotta go. Also expired, but a brand I want to explore more because I've liked what I've tried from them. This is Mob Beauty, and this is their lip balm, their tinted lip balm. I'm bummed this is expired because it's actually a really beautiful finish. It's got this real melty, grippy quality to it. This is the shade, I don't know what shade it is. They have a whole like refillable, make your own like DIY custom system. So I'm gonna keep the tube actually. I'm just gonna toss the actual product, but it's like a red sheer balm. Really pretty. I just didn't use it before it went bad. Womp womp. Okay, Dominique Cosmetics Cream Blush. This shade, Natural Rose, is really, really beautiful. It's a rose that has a warm undertone, and it's super flattering across a lot of different skin tones. It's a very classic cream blush formula. I don't know if Dominique Cosmetics is still at Sephora anymore, but anyways, this is expired, and you can always tell with a cream blush because it starts to get like crusty, and it's almost like the top layer starts to change color from the actual layer, from the actual base color, and this is past the expiration date, so it's no fault of the product. I've just had it for a long time. Okay, this product was beautiful, but it did not agree with me. So this is the Transluce Beauty, the I Am palette. This is Becky G's beauty brand, which I learned about because I worked on a campaign with Ipsy in studios, and I used this in one of my campaigns for them. This palette itself is really beautiful. Like the vibrant shades are absolutely stunning and high performing. However, they stain my eyes pretty badly. I did an eye look with all purple, like with this shade all over my eye, and my eyes were purple for like 2 or 3 days after, and they got irritated because I was rubbing at them for so long. I was really excited because I love like this murky but bright green. You know, I love a swampy green. This pop of blue, there's a mix of metallics and mattes. I'll swatch some for you actually because the color performance is like stunning. Danger, I'm swatching this. We'll see how it goes. So you can see they're like super pigmented. Beautiful. Like I love that green. But I brought this palette home that day after the shoot, and once I realized it had stained my eyes, I never picked it up again, even though I wanted to, and I've kept it around for a long time thinking like, oh, maybe I'll try it again, but I was so traumatized by this staining my eyes that I think it's just time to let it go. I do have very, very sensitive skin, so that may not happen to everybody, but I don't want to risk it happening again to me. And it's otherwise basically a brand new palette, so maybe I'll have one of my friends test it for me and report back. Another colorful palette by a brand that's since closed is the Impressionism palette by Musée Beauty. I loved the idea of this brand. It was an indie brand that was all inspired by art. And this palette was so fun. I used it a lot for monochromatic, pastel, colorful looks if I just wanted to do like a wash of blue or a wash of pink, but they've kind of gone hard pan at this point. I've had this for 3 or 4 years, and I think it's just time to let it go. It's not a brand that you can even get anymore. So thank you for the memories, and also goodbye. Okay, I'm gonna get to the things that were hardest for me to let go of, and that is Pat McGrath and Tom Ford. My luxury lipsticks. I had to get really honest because I've had some of my Pat McGrath lipsticks for 4 or 5 years, some of them even before I was creating content. For example, I have a bunch of the lip balms, the lipsticks. I'm still holding on to a couple because they are my emotional support, even though I know I won't use them. I'm just not there yet. I did a really good job otherwise, so I let myself keep them until I'm ready. But the lip balms, I really loved, and no one really talked about these. I almost emptied this one especially. It's called Sexy. Like sexy, like success and sexy. It's like that Metric song. They have a song called that if you were around back then, if you're as old as me. I loved this shade. It was beautiful. I'm gonna swatch it. Dangerous. Oh, it still looks so pretty. It's like a really warm rose. These are like a waxier lip balm. They're not melty. They're not even super moisturizing. They're kind of like the Gucci sheer lipsticks. This shade is also beautiful. This was Blow Up. Oh, I wonder if these were all named after Metric, because that's also a Metric song, right? Blow Up, Grow Up and Blow Away. Anyway, I am still a big Metric fan, especially their older stuff. But anyways, these were really beautiful. I used them a lot, but I think I bought these in 2019, which is now 5 years ago, which is so wild to me. And it's time. I mean, the packaging is so chic, so stunning. I felt really cool putting this on, but it's just time to let go. And to be honest, I'm kind of disappointed by where Pat McGrath is right now as a brand. I love Pat McGrath as an artist. I love my Mothership palettes, but all of the recent releases with the expansion of the line, like the blushes, all of that, like they're pretty, but they don't feel as special or unique or edgy as her early releases. And I've been kind of disappointed by that. Like, I know that they have to speak to a broader audience. They're expanding their market, all of that. And so they're trying to capture more consumers. But in doing that, I feel like they've lost touch a little bit with that magic spark that makes Pat McGrath Pat McGrath. Like, that's why I want to shop Pat McGrath things, is because of that artistry and that something special. And they've kind of just felt like they've blended into the noise of the beauty industry. That's such a rant that I didn't need to go on, but here we are. Here are some of her glitter lipsticks, which are the Blitz Trance lipsticks. Flesh Fatale, which is so beautiful. This isn't the one I like. The one I like is Full Fantasy. This one is so pretty because it doesn't look like a glitter lipstick. It just makes your lips look really shiny and full while still being pigmented and creamy. But again, I've had these forever. Same with this one. Okay, this one I actually never really loved. It's called Flesh Fatale. It was just never really flattering on me. You could see the gold pieces a little bit more. And so I never wore it as much as I liked Full Fantasy. That's just a beautiful creamy texture. This one you can actually like feel the glitter on your lips, and I don't love that. Okay, let's talk about Tom Ford. This is very, very sad for me, very hard for me, because I actually bought all of these, I think, before I was a beauty creator, which is so gross. Okay, the first one, my first Tom Ford lipstick. Oh my God. Okay, so this is Casablanca. Such a gorgeous shade. I actually had two of these because one was sent to me broken and then they sent me a replacement. And I think I emptied the first one and this is the one that's left over. It's such a gorgeous rose, mauvey rose. It's actually more mauve and like cooler tone than I usually go for, but it was like the perfect pink for my skin tone. And it was like the only lipstick I wore for a long, long time. Emotional support, letting go. I feel like we're in like recovery therapy right now. These, I don't think they even make anymore. So I have a couple of the old boys and girls collection, I want to say. These two. This is a great case against collecting makeup. Unless you know it's gonna expire and you're like okay with that. These I bought on sale. I was so excited. And they're beautiful shades, but I did not get the wear out of them that I should have. Like this one still has the Tom Ford embossing on it. I'm like, what is wrong with me? I'm sick. I'm sick in the head. This is the shade Antonio. Oh, it's broken. Ooh, okay. Well, I'm throwing it away anyway. This was like a sheer red lipstick, really, really pretty, a great summer lip, but I think I just kind of forgot I had it. Same with Tom Ford Ivy. This is the Soft Shine formula, and I love their white and gold lipstick cases. They're so pretty. And this was this gorgeous like sheer coral. Again, I just never got the wear out of these that I should have, and they were on sale because they're two bright shades, which these are bright shades I actually wear all the time. That's why I bought them, but I forgot about them, and that's why we should not be hoarders of makeup. Oh my God, this is another one that's really hard for me. Okay, these are my Lisa Eldridge lipsticks. I think I have like 9 or 10 of them, but a couple of them are starting to go off and it's just time. So this is Velvet Decade. These were her original, like her first launch was these lipsticks. And I'm a big fan of Lisa. And you can even see they're actually starting to get funky, like, ooh. You can see they're starting to get like bumpy on the sides, aside from the actual texture of the tube. And that's when it's time to go. I've had these have an 18-month shelf life. I've had these for probably 4 years. I think that's when she launched, or maybe even 2019. Velvet Decade, so beautiful. Like the coolest, grungy, dark lip, very vampy. Also very satisfying. I still love this formula. I just don't wear a lot of matte lipsticks anymore. This is Velvet Jazz, another vampy shade, but much more red. Oh, look at that. That like deep cherry stain sort of lip. But it's going through a similar thing where I can see little bumps on the side. I've had it forever. It's time to let go. The Urban Decay lipsticks. This is called the big one. I think I was sent the full shade range of these and I've given them out, decluttered them over the years. I've held on to this one because I do really like this shade. It's like a chili red, so pretty. But I think this was also sent to me in 2021, so it's definitely time to let go. These are still good, but they're not my favorite. So this is the Say Beauty Lip Blur. If you like a true, really, really pigmented matte lipstick, I think you'll like these. This is the shade Data, which I actually really do like this shade. It's very pigmented, hardcore. Like one swipe, full pigment. And Data is a really pretty, like, it's like brick red, but it has some pink in it. And then I have the shade Classic, which is their true classic red. I have a friend that got married in this shade because she loves a red lip, and it's a beautiful, like, face brightening red. true like blue undertone red that will make your teeth look really, really white. But I just don't wear this formula. I find it to be a little bit drying and I feel like it accentuates my lip lines. It's best applied actually over a lip balm to create like a blurred lip look, but I never reach for these and I know I have friends that will use these, so I'm gonna pass these along. This is another emotional support lipstick. This was my very, very first Chantecaille lipstick. It's the Lip Chic in the shade Gypsy Rose. She's free now. I loved this shade and it made me realize like, oh, I can wear pink lipsticks. You guys know I love the Lip Chic formula. I live for it. I wear Honeysuckle, I wear Lantana, I wear a bunch of their shades all of the time. It's a sheer, buttery, moisturizing, shiny lipstick. And my mom gave this one to me. And I think for that reason, I've had a hard time letting it go. That's Gypsy Rose. It's so pretty. If you want a really like girlish, cool toned pink, this is a great shade, great formula. And then I have a few other things that I think are still good, but are just like maybe expired, like the Jason Wu lip liners. If you're looking for a drugstore lip liner, this one's really good. This is the shade Nudist. And it's a really good nude shade for my lip tone. It has kind of a brown undertone. And then this one, it's the Patrick Ta lip liner in the shade Burgundy. I also don't love a retractable lip liner. That's just my preference. But this is a very like long-lasting, drier formula lip liner. And that means it's really gonna last, but I just never wear this shade. And then the Esom lip liners are probably the creamiest. They're so good. This one's just expired. I actually already have a replacement. This is a dual-sided one. So one side is plum. Maybe it's just all called plum. That's the only name I see on it, but it actually has this like soft pink here, and then a plum shade here, and they're like a pencil sharpenable formula. Very underrated. And then this one, I'm decluttering. I just tried this in a new makeup video. This is the Bodyography Epic Brow. Good formula, wrong shade. So if it has like a little brow gel, and then it has a brow pen, really fine tip pen, decent brow gel, good hold. I think I know a lot of people who would use this, and it was too warm for me. This was the shade brown, and it was just too golden for my taste. I like a really cool toned ashy brow color. And then these are the Gen C lipsticks. Again, a full pigment matte lipstick. I am holding on to several of them because I do find it to be a good formula when I'm looking for that kind of pigmentation and coverage. But these are just not shades I wear very much. So I have 08 Toby, and it actually is like a really fun, bright pink. I just don't reach for it very much. And then I have the shade 01 Irene, and it's just a classic red. It's a really fun, like cool toned cherry red, but again, I just don't wear it very much. I really like their shade Margaret. That's my favorite shade in this formula. It is on the drier side, but it's also really long lasting, and you can blur it out. It blurs out for a really nice, like lived in look if you apply it that way. All right, I have swatches everywhere. I have products everywhere. A lot of things I need to throw out or pass on. I feel like the most common themes that have emerged in this declutter is products that I don't like the formula, I don't like the shade, they expired because I bought too many things, or products where I really didn't like it to start and I wanted to like it and I wanted to keep going, but I should just trust my initial instincts because I usually can tell with a product if I'm gonna like it or not. I hope this was helpful for you, at least cathartic in some way. Maybe you have some decluttering to do. If you do, let me know in the comments. And also therapeutic about like why we hold on to things, our attachments to objects, what they represent, what they signify in our lives, how do we maintain the things that they signify, the things that are important without the objects themselves. There's some deeper questions happening, but I'm very tired. This was a really long video. I'm losing my voice. So I hope you enjoyed. If it was your first time watching one of my videos, then I hope you'll subscribe and stick around and hang out with me some more. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.